Hello and welcome back. We are gonna film what I made in March and April because I have socks that I'm giving away to my mom today and I want to film them first. I also want to take a picture because a bunch of my stuff is like tan and yellow and blue and it all like goes together and it matches my Advent project as well, so I think I'm gonna like lay it all out and take a YouTube background photo with all of it. Rosie, Mom only has 45 minutes to film this. Do you mind? Okay. This isn't gonna be good. Okay. This is my Advent sweater. The pattern is Strata Sweater. There's multiple patterns or items called Strata Sweater, but this one's by Hannah Singleton. I made like a tank top version kind of based on that pattern last year. This one follows the pattern a lot more closely, except obviously for the color changes, I didn't follow the stripes in the pattern at all. I just did a fade out of 21 of my Advent minis, and I happened to have this orange that was a nice duplicate for the Advent minis. Like I happen to have leftovers of an orange that's like exactly the same as the orange from the set, so I was able to do extra ribbing. Haven't woven those in yet. I'm just wearing it anyway. I mean, you can't tell, so it's fine. It's the prettiest thing I've ever made. I did do waist decreases, but I did not do sleeve decreases. One thing is I could have made it longer, but I think it's fine at this length. So this was my main Advent project. I had tons of yarn left over from this, and then I made matching socks. And I wore them in shoes a lot already, so they're getting pretty worn and I need to wash them, but yeah, they're just plain vanilla socks in the same color fade as this, so they match. This Advent is the Goosey Fiber 2024 Advent, so the one that came out 4 months ago. I'm pretty pleased. I have like 2 projects done with it already. And it's the Now We Are 6 Advent. The colors are based off of poems by the author of Winnie the Pooh, his last collection of like Christopher Robin related poems. This is weird looking right now just because of the length of shirt I have on under it actually. So yeah, this is my Advent project. I love it. It is so pretty. It was a joy to make. And I got the sleeve length exactly perfectly right for me. I did a really loose bind off because I tend to shove my sleeves like this if I'm playing piano sometimes. Alright, let's continue on, shall we? The other garment I have to show, this I made in like a similar color as the sample pattern, but in just as far as this color. I think that's where I got the idea, is I saw the sample photo and I was like, wait, I have 600 yards of that color. This could work. So this is some leftover yarn I've had in my stash. I was gonna make like a scarf or something with it. I was gonna make like a whole matching set in this color for my other sister-in-law because I made her mittens in this alpaca yarn. I made mittens for all my bridesmaids for my wedding in 2020 and 2021. Some of them were like very delayed. So that's where I got the idea to use this pattern, was because the pattern photo is like a very similar look as this like tan color. So this is the pattern Navelli by Caitlin Hunter, Boylan Knitworks. And I'm actually not keeping it for me because this alpaca yarn bothers my allergies. So this I'm pretty sure has been discontinued, but it's Rowan Alpaca Classic. Unfortunately, I still have a ball left because I was terrified of running out because I was kind of not in the correct yardage requirement. I made a size 3, and when I realized how itchy it was, I decided to give it to my sister-in-law. I wish I'd made it a little bit longer because she's like 5'9", but it will be sufficient. Oh my gosh. One thing about this sweater is the neckline's a little bit tight, so if you make it, don't use a standard bind off on the neck. The neck is pretty close fitting, so it's a little hard to get on and off. So make sure you do a loose bind off on the neckline. That's about all I have to say about that as far as advice. Yeah, so basically I started making this, and then when I realized it was itchy, I was like, I'll just give it to Sarah for her birthday. We're going to visit her in June, so she'll receive it then. I do really love the fit of it. It's so beautiful. I haven't blocked the cuffs yet. I blocked the rest of it to see if it would stretch out enough that I just wanted to make sure that the length of it was okay. Yeah, it's a really, really, really pretty shirt. I like the boat neckline. I actually really like the sleeves. The pattern had us like knit with one of the contrast colors. What's with the helicopter noise today? I'm so sorry. So the pattern, well, I really liked this because then you don't have as much alpaca like right inside your arm there. It had, you use a contrast color for the inside of the sleeve, and then you can just see the very edge of it peeking out, which is really, really cute. I like that a lot. The blue is just a ball of fingering weight wool that I'm going to use to make my mom a cowl. But I was able to spare 30 grams of it to start this, and I'm planning to use it up when I make that cowl for her. She wants it for her outfit for next Christmas, so I'm gonna work on that later in the year. And this contrast color is Pleiades by Goosey Fibers. The blue is also by Goosey Fibers. And the Pleiades is left over from my tessellated sweater, and I was able to use it up on the inside of these sleeves. And then this other blue inside here is actually a different blue that's left over from her socks, my mom's socks that I just made. So since it's on the inside, I figured it didn't matter if it matched. So when I ran out of this contrast color, I switched to just a scrap that matches this project because you can't see it anyway. I would wear this if the alpaca didn't bother me so much, but I have such a weird reaction to the yarn. It's alpaca and cotton. I think it's I don't know. I think the fiber is a good fit for like a t-shirt actually because we live in the upper Midwest. Right now she lives in Montana. Now that's not the Midwest, but it's pretty mountainous over there, so I think this is a useful garment to have in Montana, especially during transitional times of the year. But she's moving back to the Midwest probably this summer. And she doesn't get super cold, so I think just having like a t-shirt like this in summer at night or spring, fall, I think it's a really great fit for her. She also works in like church ministry, so it's like a work appropriate looking shirt, so that's nice. I'm probably gonna take this off because it's gonna make me itchy if I keep wearing it. Oh my goodness. Apparently I have to trim one of the ends still. I didn't really enjoy making this because it's bottom up, and I didn't like working the alpaca back and forth for the whole front of it. The color work was good. I did most of the color work in like 2 days while we watched Severance. I did actually switch which color I was using for these top rows. It was supposed to be the blue, and I wanted to save the blue and use up the remainder of that scrap, so I just kind of did like stripes every other row here to transition, and then I used the lighter color for the top rows of the color work. This color work pops so well, especially considering how variegated it is. So I'm actually very pleased with this. The ribbing was like folded over the entire time I was working on it, no matter how much I tried to pin it down, and I was worried it was going to keep rolling. Like it was really bothering me, and even when I got it wet, it still wanted to roll. Like it was very stubborn. So if you have trouble with your ribbing, like wanting to flip, I would do a couple extra rows of ribbing. I'm not sure if 8 was enough. It ended up being great because when I hung it and it was wet, it finally laid flat. But until I blocked it, like hardcore wet blocked it, really aggressively wet blocked it and let it dry for like 2 days, that is the point at which it stopped rolling. So I think this is beautiful and a really, really good use of stash yarn. I'm gonna have to make a hat with the rest of this. Maybe I'll make her like a matching hat. That would be cute, I guess. And then I made socks that happen to match it, but that's just a coincidence. The yellow is, these are the socks for me. I was testing out the pattern before I made it for my mom because the other patterns in this collection run really big on me, and this runs big also. I ended up like restarting the beginning of this brioche because brioche stretches a lot, obviously, but it's just still so loose. I had to put elastic in the top of it to get it to not slide around my leg too much. It's still a really, really beautiful pattern. The pattern is Rosai by Marie-Christine Levesque, MCL Tricot Designs. She's a Canadian designer, so her patterns are in French and English. I obviously only read the English, but this is leftover yarn. It's just like an unlabeled, someone's leftover ball of yarn that I bought on Yarn Swap, like the Reddit Yarn Swap. And I have unfollowed that Reddit now because I bought like kind of a lot, not a lot. I bought like 10 balls of sock yarn on there in January. And then I had to cut myself off and like actually work through it. The yellow is a 20-gram mini that came with, I'm pretty sure, this other sock set from a different post on Reddit. And then I paired it with this mystery color that I don't have a label, but I did run out of the yellow and I had to use this gray color for the toes. And since then I have cast on Stillwater socks by Summer Lee. I don't think I'm burnt out on the pattern anymore. I think I can make another one. So I've cast these on as a birthday gift for one of my volunteers at my church job. So those are the socks for me, and because they were so loose, when I made the same pattern for my mom, I went ahead and just like made a smaller size on the foot, and that resulted in me having a leftover of the main color. So this is a 50-gram mini, and I did do a couple rows of my scrap mittens with the same color earlier in the year. I'm having a bit of trouble with my lighting. There we go. So the main color here is Inconceivable by Goosey Fibers, and the blue is leftover Keenan yarn from like 3 or 4 years ago. I've like tried to Google the color name, something to do with April showers, I think, but it is definitely not available anymore. And these are the same pattern, Rosai. I've been planning on making them for a really, really, really long time. I'm not sure if I'll make them again. They're really cute for like a contrast cuff though. Maybe I would do the pattern again just without the cuff. I ended up just doing a half brioche cuff for hers, but I did them like inside out, and then I had to turn around at the color change, if that makes sense. Because the pattern I found for half brioche, I liked this is like the wrong side of the half brioche instructions that I found online. And it still has plenty of stretch to it, but it's definitely not as like this is just too much stretch. So yeah, I don't like brioche in sock cuffs. I just like things to be really close fitting and pretty tight, and that brioche just isn't that. So they're really cute, and she already approved the color choice and everything, and so I think she's really gonna love them. And I'm gonna put them back in her birthday bag now, I guess, that I filmed them. I do have a couple grams left of both of the colors, but it's pretty minimal. And these, I obviously used up both of these two colors, and whatever I have left with this is gonna be good. I also made my brother like a little mallard duck, like a stuffed animal duck by Garland. I filmed some of that. I don't know why I did that. I just decided to do that. So I used up a lot of scraps that way. I guess I can show you the two things I'm working on. This is going to be a really short video, which is wild considering how many things I actually made. But I don't know, you don't need to see me talk about them for 20 minutes each, I don't think. It's just not necessary. So, my husband's coworker was just diagnosed with thyroid cancer, and I've never met her. I don't think he's met her in person either. He works remote, but he asked me if I would maybe make her something. I think he was thinking a hat, but I don't know. A lot of people who have cancer treatment don't lose their hair, and I was like, I feel like lots of people give hats to people with cancer, and it's just kind of basic, and I didn't really want to do that. So I'm making her a cowl. I figure maybe if she has I think she's gonna have surgery probably. So I figure she has a scarf for a little bit, or if she gets cold, but she might just want to feel like pretty. And this is just a skein of yarn that I had available. My cousin had given it to me. I have one friend that would love this color, but I had already bought like sparkle yarn to make her a hat. And so I was like, I don't need to make her two like brightly colored hats in the same year. So I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with this until this project idea like just kind of came to me. And the pattern is Morning Sunshine, the DK Weights by Stephanie Lotvin. I've made several of her patterns, so I didn't even put the markers on. I just this is only my third day with it. I've made both of her Halloween cowls. I think that might have been the only projects I made by her. I can't remember right now. It feels like I've done more than that. So this is my fourth Stephanie Lotvin cowl, and I'm gonna make one for my mom and one for a different friend this year as well. So I ended up buying like a set of 4 patterns of hers that I liked, the ones on my list, and then this one, and then like an extra one that kind of was giving me some inspiration for how I could use some Advent scraps actually. So this is the Morning Sunshine pattern. I went to the DK weight, even though I thought it like that would have been too big, I think. So I was like, I'll get the DK weight and then I'll size it down to sport, and I adjusted the needles as well from 6 down to 4, just randomly, just corresponding to the amount of yarn I have, like the weight of the yarn I have. And I've been weighing it, and so far she has like each section laid out by how many yards it would be about in DK weight if you're at gauge. And so I divided up like the first 2 sections of the pattern by her total yardage to see like what percentage of the yarn was in each section, if that makes sense. And then so I've just done the math to check in on this ball, which is 109 grams. And so far I'm like a couple grams within, like on the good side of what percentage of yarn I should have been using for each section. However, there's another lace section left, and I've loved this smocking, and I'm supposed to be about done with the smocking now. I'm supposed to do like the 3rd smocking round and then be done. But I don't think I want to be done with the smocking, so I think I'm going to continue this section for longer and skip the next lace just because I don't really like lace that much personally. And I also think the color splotches really shine through with the smocking, like the inch of just plain different colored yarn. And I'm really excited about like the cross section at the end of this pattern as well. So this is only my third day working on it. I did 2 sections on the first day almost. And then yesterday I joined in the round and yesterday I did section 3 and then I joined in the round and then I started the smocking. And then I worked more in the smocking already this morning. So I'm going to work on this quite a lot later today when my parents are here, I think. I love her patterns and the shape of her cowls because cowls that are just a tube that just sit on top, they're nice. I do actually like those for some times of year as well. But like bigger cowls, you still have a gap here. It's so beautiful. So what was I saying? Oh, I was trying. So the reason I sized down and I'm doing the sport weight with the DK pattern is I'm trying to make sure it's like tight enough that it actually sits around her neck. So I thought sizing down would kind of like, watch me like stab myself in the eye, would kind of like push it upwards and smaller like into the neck region more, which is what I wanted. So I think it'll still be roomy enough. It won't be tight or anything. I mean, it has like quite a lot of stretch to it. So I'm just gonna knit this as fast as I can, and then I will, is this inside out right now? Oh, it is. What do you know? This is pretty reversible, actually. Then we will mail it off to a different coworker who works in the same office. They're all like remote, but some of them are out of like regional offices. Anyway, we have someone we're gonna mail it to. So I think I'll be done with this by next week, and I'll film it real quick with me modeling it, and then I will wash it with my sensitive skin soap and put it in a bag and like mail it to her. That's currently what my plan is. All right. So far, so good. I forget what this is called, the smocking stitch is like just sucks everything in, so I need to block it and stretch it out. So I got my like gentle detergent and I'm gonna hand wash this in the sink, and then I'm gonna stretch it out in the guest room where my cat can't like get to it and lie on top of it no matter how much she wants to. So that's the plan. This is the pre-block size. Pre-blocking. It looks a little weird. I think it'll stretch out a lot, hopefully. Good morning. Here's my finished morning sunshine cowl. Most of it is in pattern until here, and I knit this section like over twice as long as it should have been. Then I did a section Rosie. I don't know what it is about filming and her wanting to play every single time. Then I did a section with baubles inspired by the 2023 Halloween haunted house cowl. It's not exactly the same because there's supposed to be like a rib in between, but I did that. Then I did this really pretty cross section at the end, basically exactly like I was told to. And I still had yarn left and I thought it looked incomplete. So I crocheted the scallop edge on, which is really pretty, and I'm really happy with that shape. I'm not very good at crochet, but this did use like 7 grams of yarn. So what it is 5 double crochets into one stitch, and then skip, and then a single crochet, and then a skip, and you just repeat that. So I was able to do that because it was simple enough that I could handle it. I blocked this out pretty aggressively. I have a video before blocking, and so it does like cover the neck pretty well still, in case that's what she wants, and this is the shape of it. So I'm very happy with it. It was like a 1 week long project. Colors are beautiful. It's happy. Flecks are beautiful. Pattern is really beautiful. No complaints. Woo. Say goodbye. And then the one other thing, I'm gonna have to put this down unfortunately in order to show you. The one other thing I have started for myself, this is yarn that I got when we were in Europe on vacation in the fall. We were in London. I picked up 3 balls of this Knitting for Olive. It's the regular merino in the color unicorn purple. And I got this idea from Candid Knit on Sophie. I think I've only seen like 2 of her videos recently. Just kind of came up on my YouTube. And she was wearing one of these in a video from a couple months ago. And I was planning on doing the Barbaro blouse with this yarn, but I only have 3 balls, so it would have had to been like short sleeve. It wouldn't have been long enough. And I also, that one is kind of see-through, like the lace, the eyelets are more see-through. I don't know, I just wouldn't necessarily want to wear something like that see-through to work. So I am making the campanula tee. Sidebar, I think the pronunciation should be campanula. Cupid Knits, Anna Herman Sorensen. And it is a saddle shoulder, like mixed rib t-shirt. So far I think I'm doing okay on yardage, but I am eventually gonna be running out. I'm having so much fun with the increases. I think I'm doing okay keeping the rib from getting too stretched out. It's going pretty well, but I think blocking will help the 1 and 2 rib columns. Right now I'm doing lots of the sleeve increases. So yeah, right now I'm in a section of sleeve increases. I did pick up and knit the ruffle on the collar yesterday because I like my necklines when I'm making a shirt or sweater. I like the neckline on the top to be complete and like look like it's done for like 80% or 75% of my time making the garment. That just like lets me imagine and have an idea of what it actually looks like, and it makes the try on a lot more satisfying. Like I just love the look of the neckline being done. I'm just not gonna knit an entire t-shirt and do this last. Like, it's so pretty, so I want to get to look at it more of the time than I'm making the project. So I did pick up with a second ball and do the neckline yesterday, and I really like the ruffle neckline. I picked up the edge like I was told to, but then I went and found the middle of the back of the garment and used that as my round beginning. I just really like it when the seam or like the connection from the row end, which I will sew down so it doesn't look like that. I like it when it's at the back of the neck, like where the tag would be of a garment. It's just prettier that way. Like, I don't want it to be on the side because then you have like a mismatch on the side of your shirt, and I just don't like that. So I moved it to be in the back. I did have an issue with the start of the pattern, and that is that there's short rows right at the beginning, but they're done in the round, but the pattern never tells you to join in the round. And you could knit like just a back section, like it had you place all 4 markers. It just said like cast on with scrap yarn, and then knit the first row where you place the markers, and then knit the short rows back and forth. So I started trying to do that, and it was, I didn't even make it through the first row of short rows when it was obvious that like first you're supposed to join in the round. So you knit across and do the markers, and then you go back to the beginning and join in the round, which was hard to do because I was using magic loop, and these are the only needles that I have. So then you're supposed to go back and join in the round and knit all the way across again to do the short rows. I figured it out pretty quickly, but I was just looking at the pattern like, where do I join in the round? And I do not see anywhere in the pattern that tells you to join in the round. So that, I was fine because I've made a couple camisole number 5s, and I've made, I don't know, I just knew it was the neckline, and I knew that should be in the round right away. So I only had to redo part of 1 row, but I was just trying to follow exactly what it said. I think that was the problem. If I'd read the whole instruction and like thought about it a little longer, it would have been fine. But I was just like, they were just like, do your short rows, knit past marker number 4. And they had just told me what marker was what. This is marker number 4, right there. They were like, knit to marker number 4. And I was like, okay. And I did so, and it was wrong. And I had to go back and redo my second row. But there was only like 70 stitches at the time. that I had to redo before I realized the problem, so it was totally fine. Except for how it was a little confusing. One thing about this is it was supposed to be sport weight yarn, so here I'm knitting a DK pattern on sport, and then sport weight on fingering, so I just love really skinny yarn. What can I say? I like it to be light. I didn't have enough sport weight of anything in my house to make this shirt, and plus I wanted the shirt to be this color. I just wanted this to be the shirt. So it was supposed to be sport weight on like size 0 or 1, like really, really tight sport weight. And instead I'm making it on fingering weight and size 2. And I don't think it's gonna be too see-through, or that I did do a gauge swatch. So I knit the right number of stitches, but I only knit 2 inches long instead of 4 inches long. And I think the row gauge is probably fine, but I will be checking. I'm kind of going to be at a checkpoint soon where you measure and try on to make sure the underarm is the right length for you. Anyway, it's supposed to be really, really, really tight, and I did do a gauge swatch. And I did get it wet and let it dry, and I was totally fine with gauge for adjusting my needle size up so that I can do fingering weight yarn instead. So this is gonna be so pretty, and I'm really, 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 really excited. So yeah, these are my spring knits. Springy colors on my needles right now. This was very springy, like we're just, look at all the springtime. Look at this. This is why I had to film it all at once, because it all matches. Okay, I also have been a very good girl, and I've been doing a lot of repairs. I like reknit this entire t-shirt so that it would be looser, and I used up all the bright pink advent yarn in the process. So I hate to be that person, but all my repair projects are going to be in a separate video because it's a very separate thing than what I'm knitting. So this is my main video series, which is just destashing my yarn. So yeah, lots of yarn out of stash in the months of March and April, and I did a bunch of repairs and a bunch of like small alterations to like basically cast-offs. I'm just very fussy about how the hems of my sweaters and sleeves are, so I fixed some of those, and I've just done some other repairs for family as well. So you can tell that I was touching alpaca because I keep doing this. Like, welcome to watching a girl with allergies. Like, I'm sorry that what I've learned from these videos is that my voice in the morning is like really affected by my allergies. And I do actually touch my face and scratch my nose just constantly, like 100% of the time. And it's been my whole life, so I didn't know this until I started filming myself. Anyway, I have been doing some repairs, so I have a bunch of that I've filmed, which has been really fun, and so that's going to be its own video, and I'm going to reknit one of my swan shows later in the year. I've made that decision that I'm going to do it because reknitting this was such a fulfilling experience. So I'm going to need to buy more yarn for that. Anyway, that's what's coming up. I will be doing more socks. I will be finishing the 2 things I just showed you. I have another t-shirt planned for like, I was gonna do it this month, but some of these other projects and work stuff and like these repairs I started doing took me too long. So I have another t-shirt planned, and we're just gonna keep on destashing. And we'll see you next time with my repair video, part 1. You guys, I can't handle it. This is the prettiest thing I've ever made. It is so perfect. Like, what do you even want me to say? Hello. I'm making my brother a duck. This is a mallard pattern by Garland. So I did all the knitting. I made this whole portion of it in like 2 days, 2.5 days basically. It wasn't that bad. And I got to the point where I was supposed to put the eyes on, and I'm going to be making the eyes out of like dark thread. And I was like, I don't know about that. And then I made the beak and both of the feet. I just haven't sewed any of it together yet. My brother's birthday is today, and so I'm going to sew it together today, and then we're seeing him tomorrow. So I got a lot of work to do on this baby. It needs to be brought to life just a little bit. Okay, this is what I've got so far. I haven't sewn its butt up yet. I am pretty pleased with the result. So far, he's doing pretty well. I don't know. If he's a little crooked or lumpy, I feel like that's what makes him so endearing. I think I was supposed to sew the neck to here. I was supposed to do a stitch back there. Maybe I should figure that out soon. I might restuff him tonight. Maybe I'll have my mom help me, or maybe I'll get some advice from my parents on what they think needs to be done to get him all fixed up. But it's basically done, and I will have to sew the feet on tonight as well. The head looks pretty good. Quack. Oh, he's so cute. Look at the little duck. He's just a little friend. He's just a little guy. Alright, so this is another stuffed animal I made. I messaged my friends and I sent them a picture of the duck I made my brother, and I was like, does anyone want me to make them a bird? And they were like, yeah, we would take like most types of birds. That's great. But then my one friend was like, I'm doing a cosplay. Will you make me this like ferret? Will you make me a ferret from, I don't know if it's from a book or a show or what, but it's a ferret, but the ferret's also apparently like actually a trickster goddess or something. I don't 100% remember, to be honest. So, but the ferret was like bright red, and I had some scrap yarn in a red, and then I had this little bit of white, and I actually, when I took apart my spring doodle cowl because it was too long and I didn't like the angle that I had done the twist last year, I recovered this white yarn from the part of my spring doodle cowl that I took apart, and some of the red yarn from that, and then I have two different reds actually that were mixed together. And I used a free beginner kitten pattern actually by Garland, and then I just made the body really, really long, and I didn't do so many increases because I needed it to be really skinny, and I also changed the shape of the legs and the shape of the tail, and then I just sewed them onto the body in a way that it would look like a ferret. However, I did a terrible job embroidering the face. She said that was fine and that she loved it and everything, but the face just doesn't look right to me at all. It looks really childish and kind of silly. So I'm not really pleased with the facial expression. As far as my stuffed animal making skills, the rest of it, like the shape of the legs and the angles of the feet and the body and the overall balance between the limbs and the head and everything, like all of that I'm pretty happy with. And I did have to redo the head, but I am not happy with the face, and that's okay, because she said it was great and she was perfect, and that she used her for the cosplay and she had her in her purse. And you can fix it up to be cute enough by squishing the face so that the stuffing moves around to get like a better expression.
So I was experimenting with that. But anyway, yeah. So I scrap busted by speed making this ferret. And my friend lives out of town, so I filmed this the night before because my husband had to take his dad to the airport. And so they met them there to do a ferret handoff, which was hilarious because at first he thought I meant that I wanted him to take a live ferret there, and oh my gosh. Apparently my husband doesn't keep like great track of what I'm working on because I thought he knew that I was making Laura a ferret, and I was like, will you take this ferret down to Laura when you go to the airport with your dad? Like, will you just like meet her somewhere and like drop it off? And he's like, what? I mean, sure. Like, where's the ferret from? Like, he thought I meant like I needed him to drive like a live animal that they were adopting, like someone's like pet 2 hours away. And I had to be like, no, like it's just a little stuffed animal, like this ferret. And then, but he forgot what it was and he called her an otter at one point, and I got so offended, even though it looks exactly like an otter and it's the same shape as an otter, and it's a fictional creature and it's bright crimson red. Even though, like, despite all of that, I was like, how dare you call her an otter? Like, she's a ferret, obviously. Like, so it's very sweet of them to figure that out and to take some time to meet at the airport for me. So obviously I can't put her in the mail. Like, we don't trust the postal service anymore. Like, I don't trust the postal service, even if I pay extra for speedy delivery, to correctly and safely deliver the ferret, which is like, it's a cosplay, so the deadline's like a hard deadline, you know? It's very important.
Are you done?